Yep, it's about time I re-reviewed this thing. Hello guys, it's me, Toast Kirby. Today, I'm gonna be revisiting Mega Man 1. If you're an old-time fan, you know I've already reviewed this game, but here's something about that review. It's full of crap. And as a result, I am going to be doing a re-review of it. And hopefully this one will be a lot more accurate.
Unfortunately, I can't assume that you all know what this game is. So I'll give you a brief summary of its history. Mega Man 1 was developed by Capcom and released by Capcom for the NES in 1987. In 1987, Capcom did not release any console games, as it was exclusively an arcade company. This game was developed for the purpose of moving over to the console market, with the newly popular NES being the best option. Believe it or not, this game did not sell very well, so Capcom wanted to ditch the series entirely, but we'll see where that goes in future installments. The game itself has no plot, which is forgivable considering the fact that this was an early NES game. That would be like knocking down Super Mario Bros. For not explaining its plot in game, which is stupid. However, the story is still fairly well known. In the year 20XX, because I don't know, go along with it. In the year 20XX, Mega Man was just a robot called Rock, a lab assistant for Dr. Light, who had invented robots that are capable of near-human levels of thinking. Dr. Wily, his assistant/rival, got jealous and kidnapped 6 of Dr. Light's most competent robots to take over the world. And oh yeah, there's only 6 robot masters this time.
And this is one thing that I was still stuck by. As it's the original game of the series, it is slightly forgivable that there are only 6 Robot Masters instead of the original 8. Even then, it's kind of disappointing, but there wasn't too much I could have done. The limitations got in the way.
So there you have it. Those are the arguments that I'm still standing by, because those are more of NES early days flaws than they are actual game problems. However, there are still many problems within this game that I have yet to address. Probably my biggest problem with the game is the weapon system. Not most of the weapons themselves, although some of them do suck, but rather the fact that you are not told that you have these powers at all. You get these weapons from fighting the Robot Masters, which they use in their battles. Which, yeah, that's fairly normal Mega Man stuff, but what's also normal is that normally you're given a weapons screen where you're told that you get the weapon, but here, there is none. Even for the first game in the series, I know they could have done better. But can't you just beat the game with only the Mega Buster? In most other games, that answer would be yes, but here, you cannot beat this game without the weapons. Not only do the weapons have more of a utility purpose than in later games, they also get something that is mandatory that you don't get from just beating a Robot Master. This thing you find in a Lechman stage, by the way, is called the Magnet Beam. And if you don't get this thing, you don't stand a damn chance against Dr. Wily himself. And it's all because of this room in Dr. Wily 1. Unless you have the Magnet Beam, you're pretty much stuck, and you have to go through the entire game all over again, because there's no way you can get back to the Lechman stage once you beat all 6 Robot Masters and enter Dr. Wily's castle. That leads me to pretty much the only problem with this game that I actually did address in the original video, which was that you have to beat this game in its entirety in one single sitting. I didn't emphasize how tedious this is, because the game is pretty freaking annoyingly hard. Then there's the issue of Mega Man's control. Honestly, this is probably the most petty issue in the game, simply because it's how Mega Man controls and not the controls themselves. Because Mega Man seems to be pretty slippery, which makes staying on the platform more of a chore than it should be. Overall, though, I had very few deaths because of this, and overall, who cares? I just felt like addressing that because I bet someone would comment that in the videos if I didn't. I think that as long as your levels are suited to the gameplay and controls that your character has, that it's able to be overcome. And that's the next point I should probably bring up. The level design isn't necessarily terrible, but at times it can get very dickish. Easily the best example of this is an Iceman stage, where unless you have the magnet beam, you have to ride atop those, I don't even know what they are, and you have a chance of being hit by them when you're on top of them. Also, if you fall, you're falling very, very fast, much faster than Mega Man normally does. However, if you have the magnet beam, it's a total cakewalk. And that's what I mean by dickish level design. It's like, oh, you don't have this? Okay, we're gonna give you hell. Oh, you do have it? Okay, it's a total cakewalk. This example is in Fireman stage, right here. I've actually managed to pass through this part of the magnet beam and without taking damage, but that was pretty much luck. I'm going to admit it. It was total luck. There was not an ounce of skill in that because the timing is fucking frame perfect. If you don't have the magnet beam, you are taking damage, and I think that's pretty cheap. Also in my original review, I mentioned that I like the Wily Stages level design. After having replayed these levels, I believe that there are some well-designed parts, but for the most part, it's bad. So, yeah. I don't know, play it and make up your own mind, but the main reason I think this is because you need the weapons to get through different parts of the level, and by you need, I mean it, because otherwise, you're not going to be able to progress. And then you won't have the ammo to, and if you run out of ammo, which admittedly is highly unlikely, but this is a worst case scenario, you're not gonna make it, and you're gonna have to grind for more energy. Speaking of those Wily stages, how did the bosses fare? Well, oh god, the Yellow Devil! The Yellow Devil is the only boss that I have ever beaten in a Mega Man game, only thanks to a glitch. I have not beaten him without that pause method, and without it, I'm almost certain he's impossible. Almost. Not quite. Oh, and you thought that was the worst of it, you naive little fool. Now you have to deal with your clone. The problem with this fight is that you can't slide, and he's a lot more mobile than you, meaning that you're going to get hit a lot unless you get extremely lucky. Also, he copies whatever weapon you have, so have fun with that. Then there's this thing, which starts out at an okay pace, and then it becomes almost impossible without its weakness, the Guts Arm. Oh, and by the way, if you use those 4 blocks before you beat it and you die, they don't respawn. So good luck. Flying Machine 1, on the other hand, is not anything really too much worth talking about. Honestly, it's just there. And if you know what you're doing, then it should be fairly easy. Now, I've painted out Mega Man 1 to be a bad game, but to be honest, as long as you're willing to deal with the bad parts, it's actually a pretty good game, especially for an early NES game. And it's not nearly as hair-pullingly difficult as some of the other first games in their series. In fact, I find Super Mario Bros. 1 to be more unfair and bullshit than this. Even though I believe that the original review I made is full of crap, I suggest you check it out to see how I originally thought of it, just to compare it, because this video would be kind of confusing if you hadn't watched the original video. And I know I have some newer fans who probably haven't watched it. A 9 out of 10 is bullcrap, and I believe that we should rank it again. I'd say 7 out of 10. There's enough good to keep it from a 6.5. But regardless, that'll be it for Mega Man 1. Thank you for watching. Do all that normal stuff. And next time we review a Mega Man game, it'll be Mega Man 2, which will be coming out next month. So until then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.